The Last Guardian has been one of the most anticipated games for the past 10 years. Ever since its announcement, Team Ico's latest project has undergone a mysterious, rocky development whose story is still unknown to the public. We are now finally nearing the game's release date after what has seemed like an unending cycle of announcements and delays. The Last Guardian was first announced at E3 2009, where it was given a 2011 release date. Sadly, Team Ico missed the release date and was forced to push the game back. Shortly after this delay, the game's head designer, Fumito Ueda, left Sony. However, Ueda is still under contract to finish The Last Guardian. Team Ico quickly went into radio silence for nearly 3 years, leading many people, including myself, to believe that the game had died during its incredibly long time away from the public eye. Out of the blue at the 2015 E3 Sony press conference, like a beacon shining from the heavens, a new trailer for The Last Guardian was premiered. A year later, at the 2016 E3 Sony press conference, another trailer was presented featuring a release date of October 25th, 2016. Somehow, after nearly a decade in development, The Last Guardian was delayed again, and its release date was pushed from October to December of 2016. While the new release date is only 2 months later than the date announced at E3, another delay could suggest issues with the game. It's unclear what we can expect from The Last Guardian. At this point, the real question becomes, what could the game feature that would live up to the enormous hype the game has garnered? Let me tell you what would make this painfully long wait worthwhile. The Last Guardian has the potential to be outstanding if Team Ico implements 4 major ideas to their game. We will discuss storytelling with moral and ethical quandaries, a unique environment, having a partner to explore with, and the importance of controls. Let's dive in. The reason The Last Guardian has attained such a large amount of hype is because of Team Ico's previous 2 spectacular games, Ico and Shadow of the Colossus. To understand what will make The Last Guardian successful, we can observe their other games. Shadow of the Colossus, one of the best games on the PlayStation 2, was Team Ico's last game before beginning work on The Last Guardian. The game tells the story of Wander, a boy trying to resurrect a woman named Mono. To resurrect Mono, Wander is instructed by Dorman, some sort of god, to kill giant creatures throughout the land known as Colossi. The game shows Wander in a moral quandary. Wander is determined to do whatever it takes to bring Mono back to life, yet once we find the first Colossus as Wander, we immediately become mesmerized by it. It is majestic, unique, and beautiful. Finding each new Colossus is bittersweet. Initially enamored by their beauty, we soon come to the realization that we must murder these creatures to further our journey. This idea of morally questionable choices that drive the plot should be applied to The Last Guardian. We should be guided through a morally ambiguous or ethically conflicting plot. It would be interesting to see The Last Guardian present us with similar bittersweet moments in regards to the mysterious bird dog creatures featured in the game's trailers. For example, we may find these creatures chained up around the world, and upon first glance, it seems that the character should unlock them. However, the character may learn that keeping these creatures chained ensures their safety from the harsh world, causing the character to leave these creatures when they need his help the most. This type of morally conflicting storytelling would be perfect in giving players a memorable and lasting story. Both of Team Ico's previous games have compelling stories that aid in creating memorable experiences. However, they focus more on the journeys the player is taken on rather than the overarching plot points. In these games, the world is used as a tool for cultivating a mood and tone. Games in our current gaming generation tend to cram as much as physically possible into their environments to show realism, add content to the game, or flesh out the universe. Shadow of the Colossus was different, though. It showed us a world that feels barren and forgotten in time, creating a more somber tone. Exploring this landscape isn't a joyful romp through bustling city streets or quaint villages. It's a dark trek through an abandoned land filled with ruins of a different time. In other circumstances, we would most likely avoid this sad place. From what we have seen from The Last Guardian, it seems that this idea of using the world to build an atmosphere will be used with a similar barren landscape. Throughout the game, we may not run into a single other human character, which would be a great way to not only establish a distinct tone, it would also help separate the game from others being released now. While these worlds feel unique and work marvelously for cultivating a tone, they can get lonely. That isn't always a bad thing though. For example, the majority of Half-Life 2 has the player embarking on a solo journey through a harsh, empty map. Upon reaching your destination, you feel like you can take on anything. On the flip side, there is something special about being able to bond with another character along the way. BioShock Infinite does this wonderfully with Elizabeth. Throughout the journey, players fell in love with Elizabeth. The shared experience and conversations help to build upon the duo's character development. Neither approach is best, they are totally different. With one, we get to see more of the landscape and find comfort in isolation, while the other makes us fall in love with our partner accompanying us. The Last Guardian has the potential to use either one of these two approaches. However, it seems more likely that it will use the latter. Our partner will most likely be one of the aforementioned bird dogs named Trico. Since this creature will not be able to speak, Team Ico will have to create that bond through common experiences and a visual relationship. Our companion bird dog, Trico, being necessary for completing puzzles would be a great way to do this. If we are able to use teamwork in order to progress through our journey, we would quickly grow attached to our feathered canine companion. As the relationship strengthens between us and the creature, both parties could begin to show each other affection. The boy could pat Trico, or Trico could nuzzle his giant head into the boy. This would give our journey emotional weight while increasing the stakes. Here's where things get a little dicey. As much as I love the previous Team Ico games, they are difficult to return to. It's been 11 years since Shadow of the Colossus hit store shelves, and it shows. Not only is the game visually dated, its controls are dated as well. The game features funky, loose controls that keep Shadow of the Colossus from becoming a timeless classic. Games with weird or bad controls are difficult to play. They can break the immersion quickly, and if something feels off within the first 5 minutes, it's easy to quit. People who have had the pleasure of playing The Last Guardian in its current state have mentioned that the game plays like its predecessors. That's not good. Without tight, understandable controls, the game may end up underwhelming, confusing, or infuriating players, forcing them to give up prematurely. The importance of gameplay cannot be stressed enough for The Last Guardian. This game, if anything like the developer's other games, will be mostly gameplay with bits of story sprinkled on top. If the biggest element of the game is lackluster, then it will be destined to fail. Due to the insane amount of hype accrued by The Last Guardian over the years, it seems nearly impossible for Team Ico to deliver a game that exceeds expectations, let alone meets them. Let's not give up hope yet, though. There is a chance that this game will impress us. If the game is able to introduce us to an interesting, unique world that helps build the tone for the game, gives us an interesting story spiced with Team Ico's brand of moral ambiguity, and utilize our furry, feathered companion for puzzles to make us fall in love with them, we will be immediately captivated. Good, solid gameplay will keep us playing it for years to come. I am skeptical of Team Ico's latest project. Let's give them a chance to astonish us a third time with The Last Guardian.